So as we touched on earlier in the show, New York City Mayor Eric Adams raised some serious eyebrows yesterday with these comments about his latest idea to accommodate asylum seekers.
It is my vision to take the next step to this, to go to the faith-based locales, and then move to private residence.
Sure, why not? Look, I have virtually no issue with the mayor asking churches, and I see asking in big capital letters, you know, churches and other houses of worship to help deal with the overflow of migrants. But to extend that call to include private citizens with little to no details about how his plan would actually be executed, I mean, it's insulting at best and completely irrational at worst. And get this load of whatever. Mayor Eric Adams also sent out a tweet which begins with, no matter what faith you may practice, caring for those in need is part of every spiritual tradition. In other words, the mayor believes you're under an obligation, a religious obligation, to give up free space within your home to accommodate migrants who seek shelter, legal or illegal. He used the term spiritual tradition. Make no mistake here. He's trying to guilt residents into giving up their homes by exploiting their ties to religion. They don't ever care about religion before. They do now. It forwards their agenda. I mean, where there's intent, though, there will probably be some level of legislation that follows. Constitution be damned. So the bigger question becomes with this, will other liberal-leaning officials around the U.S. take a cue from Mayor Adams and execute the same plan in their cities? Well, joining me now is a pair of sheriffs from the great state of Texas, Brad Coe from Kinney County and Roy Boyd from Goliad County. So, look, you know, Sheriff Brad, we'll go with you first. The issue I see here is they cannot contain and manage the problem that they created for themselves by calling them a sanctuary city. If you were the sheriff of that town, what would your advice be?
That's a tough question to answer. But they brought it, like you said, brought it upon themselves, the sheriff, and say, you brought this upon yourself. You declared yourself a sanctuary city. Deal with the problem. Yeah,
I mean, it sounds fine. Sheriff Roy, when you see people like this, though, that have embraced lawlessness, they've had no standard of ethics or law or anything like that. They do whatever they want. Criminals run all over the street. If you were to walk into New York City and you were forced to handle some of these things, what would be your plan of action?
Well, first and foremost, no offense, but I've been to New York City. I have no intention of ever living there or trying to enforce the law there. I think that it's one of those things where it's be careful what you ask for, because once it shows up on your doorstep, you're not going to be able to shake it off like loose water on a dog. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, you know, what's interesting is, you know, Sheriff Brad, the crazier thing, obviously, Mayor Eric Adams is pulling from his magical money pot and saying that any resident who housed an asylum seeker or illegal migrant, whatever you want to call them, would make at least $100 a night. That's like greater than the daily allowance for a foster child up to 12 years of age. They get like $40 a night. How is this fair?
Well, like you say, it's not fair. A, where are they going to get the money from? And now you're going to have people that are going to buying houses, building substandard structures to put these people in for $100 a piece. They'll overcrowd them. There'll be then you'll end up like with the Superdome issue. You'll have your rapes, your murders, and everything just be total chaos, totally out of control. They can't do it. There's no way.
Right, but Sheriff Roy, you know, once we've become accustomed to handling things so poorly, how do you get back to normal if you have an administration that's just not able to politically execute that will?
As long as people are willing to continue to elect these substandard people and put them into office, then they're going to have to live with it. You know, we don't have that problem here in South Texas, and I guarantee Governor Abbott wouldn't put up with this anywhere here in the state of Texas. And so if they don't want to wake up and into this continued nightmare over and over again, people in New York are going to have to lift themselves up by the bootstraps, and they're going to have to elect some people with some spine to run that state. But I've been there, and I kind of doubt that's going to happen.
But Sheriff
the path
Brad,
to communism has been paid very well for those people. Sheriff
Brad, you know, we go through this stuff, but this is not unique to New York. A number of cities all over the country have called for this. When migrants come through your city, how do you guys deal with them, and what should other cities be planning to do that's effective?
Well, what we do is if we catch them on private property, we prosecute them for criminal trespass. If we catch them in the area and they're involved in some type of smuggling endeavor, they're turned over to Border Patrol. We prosecute what we can. If there's any outstanding warrants, we will prosecute the drivers and the smugglers, anybody facilitating this to the full, to the fullest extent of the law. But all the trespassers that are migrating through, as they say, walking through private property, they're arrested and charged for criminal trespass.
Good. And Sheriff Roy, I'm assuming your answer is pretty similar.
Well, you know, in Goliad, we're a little ahead of the curve from New York City. We've been providing free housing for criminal aliens for quite some time. We may only have a 2 Yelp rating on the Goliad County Jail, but they don't seem to complain too much.
Oh, man, if we all did things like you gentlemen do in Texas, we might be a lot better off. Sheriffs Bradco, Roy Boyd, we appreciate you being here very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.